¿Qué tal? Soy Aaron Cortés de Me Hace Ruido y en esta ocasión nos acompaña Easy Life, celebrando el lanzamiento de su álbum debut Life's a Beach, ya disponible en plataformas digitales. Antes de comenzar los invito a suscribirse a nuestro canal para más entrevistas y a seguirnos en redes sociales para más contenido de música. Y ahora,
Easy life is just about having those concerns about life and those like thoughts, deep thoughts, but at the same time it's just like having this chill vibe with the music. Just like I'm worried, but I don't care that much. It's just like so chill. And this
Yeah.
record is not an exception because it's just I feel it's kind of different from the things you have like out there, but at the same time it's not that different. You know, it's like an evolution of
Mm.
the music, and I like it because it's just I don't know how to say it. It's kind of different, but not that different. You know.
hmm
So I want to ask you first of all, how does it work for you having a first record after releasing those EPs and tons of singles? Because it's been lots of music out there, and it's not that common having a debut album without that much music. You know.
Sure. Well, thanks for listening to the album. I'm glad you like it. I think you nailed it with the thing where it's like I don't like everything's a bit shit, but I don't really care that much. It's gonna be fine. And with the thing is with us is like we didn't ever really expect to be doing this, as seriously and as full time as we are now. So in terms of releasing music, we were always just like, we want to release music. So as soon as we wrote it, we just released it, and we sort of kept doing that, and we still do that now. With the lockdown that's happened and the pandemic, I just had a lot of time, so I was finally able to make a full length album. But up until this point, we've been touring and doing other like life stuff, so we haven't really had much, didn't have like a lot of time to make an album. So I kind of just approached the album exactly the same as any other project. I just sort of just sat down and wrote it and then put it out. I don't know, with us it's always been like, don't overthink it, as soon as I start overthinking things, they always sound really bad, and it never works out for me. So yeah, this album was the same as every other album, really. Every other project, we just kind of wrote whatever we were.
Like a particular story. It has like an intro, then the interlude, and then an outro. Because it's just like having that kind of thoughts and the music to vibe to while you're walking home, and it's just like this monologue, and it's just so interesting because I feel for me that I think that's what makes different this record from Junk Food and the other
Mm,
mixtapes. You know.
Yeah, I think like what I really wanted to do is tell a story with the album and have it thematically change. So with the opening of the album, the first side of the LP is quite uplifting and quite positive. Tracks like A Message to Myself and Have a Great Day and Daydreams, they're all kind of invoke quite happy and like chilled thoughts. And then on things take a little bit of a turn. For me, it was always about like imagining, right, that you'd go to the beach, okay, and you start and you think, right, this is going to be great, it's like sunny, and then you're there and it's all a bit shit, and then you start getting a bit paranoid, and then you walk home. And that was the idea that I wanted to sort of lead people on. And the second side of the album gets a little bit more sinister with tracks like Living Strange and Lifeboat, these kind of things where you feel a little bit more anxious, a bit more paranoid, and then homesickness because you miss home, and then Music to Walk Home To is just about walking home. And I wrote that when I was really, really drunk, and I just freestyled it. From where I was thinking, how would I walk home now? And what things would I pass? And I just did it, and then I left. And I never thought we'd ever put that on the album, but I don't know, it just kind of has a special place in my heart, and I felt like it was a good one to end the album with, just because it's a bit of fun,
And lately 40 wins to be just priceless. I wrestle with myself and with my vices, but no one gives a fuck about my nightmares.
So everything is about the concept, about going out and going back. But I want to ask you,
Yeah.
why did you choose to put Nightmares in this record? Because Nightmares, it's been ever since 2018, and it's been so long out there even before you release the mixtape when it comes Sunday and stuff.
Mhm.
So even before Junk Food, Nightmares was out there, and then it's coming back from this record, and it fits so well that it's just. I want to ask you, why did you choose to bring back that
Yeah,
hit song to this record?
I mean, there's the obvious one in that it's our biggest song, so we wanted to put it on the first album. But more stylistically than that, it was kind of that. What was funny is that we realized that Nightmares never actually went on an EP. Nightmares was always just a single, and we wanted to give it a home in amongst other things, and we had the song Daydreams, which comes at the start of the album. We wanted to like suggest that, you know, everything's a daydream at the start, and then when you get to the end, it's turned into a nightmare, to sort of tell the story of the album. And for me, Nightmares was just like, I wanted in 30 years' time, if I ever turn on the album, I don't want to forget about the song Nightmares. It's been an important song for us, and I wanted it to be in amongst all his new friends, and it can finally have a home, you know, because it's always just been out on its own. I felt sorry for it.
But I don't wanna be just another one of your skeletons. 6 feet deep, like could have been so sweet, but skeletons.
And also another huge song on this record is Skeletons, because ever since that came out, it's been huge, and it has more than 1 million plays on Spotify. So first of all, how do you feel about that success so fast? Because it was one of the first singles of this new album. And second of all, why did you choose to make such a banger? Because it slaps at the end, at the start with Skeletons out loud. Just right after Ocean Views. So it's just like a chill song, and then just uplifting, and it's a very interesting contrast in there.
So I felt that to start with, thanks. I'm glad you like it, and I'm super stoked that people are liking Skeletons. It was intentionally after Ocean View, because Ocean View is really quite melancholy and very slow and very chill. I felt like the album so far, you'd only had Message to Myself, Have a Great Day, and Ocean View. It felt like you're kind of easing into it. It was time to like party time, you know, like let's go. The album has started. So I intentionally had something at that tempo. It's 115 BPM, which is real quick for us. We don't often go that quick. So, and it was just like, I don't know. It was always, we had the chords and the beat, and I always start with the title. So I had the title Skeletons, and nothing was really coming to me. So I just kept saying skeletons, skeletons. And then Rob, who was producing the song and writing it with me, he was like, yo, that's sick. We should just record that. And I was like, well, it's just the title. He was like, yeah, but just put it in. So we just put it in, and then a couple hours later, it was all done.
But okay, you start like not having the lyrics, but then you got to this point of having such a deep message implicit in this song with those skeletons, that is just about having that weight in the past of a person, and I don't want to be just another one of the skeletons and stuff. So how do you get to that point, to the final result?
Well, I always had the concept of like, you know, skeletons in the closet, and when you meet somebody, I don't know about you, but I'm like drawn to things that are really bad for me. I've got quite like an addictive personality, and I kind of, everything that you shouldn't do, I kind of like to do. I don't know what it is about me, but it's not unique to me. I think that's what humans are like. Like we want to be doing things that are intrinsically bad, you know, like drinking for one. Like that's huge. Everyone loves drinking, and it's like poison. So I don't know why we are into that kind of shit, but I'm the same with relationships. You know, I kind of like people that are gonna fuck me around. I don't know why. And that's where the skeletons thing came from. It's like, well, I'm just going to end up another one of your skeletons, but I don't care. Like, let's do it anyway. You know, it's kind of, I guess that's the concept. But often with songs like I don't really know what I'm really saying or what I'm speaking about until afterwards. And then I kind of like, the only way it becomes clear to me is by saying it out loud. I don't have these thoughts just lingering. I don't know how, it's a strange process. And some songs I don't even know where they come from, or I don't know.
I only came for being a brother, channel surfing in the covers, dreaming of the leafy suburbs.
Talking about those songs that you don't know where it comes from and stuff, I want to ask you this. Yeah, this particular relationship between easy life and food, because of course you have junk food and the whole concept, but I feel like for me easy life is just like a foodie band, because you have like pop tarts, butter, and then those references like pizza slices and shake and stuff. So I want to ask you, how does it work for you? Because I feel like it fits so good in the lyrics and on the titles and stuff, and it's just, yeah, a very particular point, because also in this record we have like skeletons and you talk about kombucha and stuff. It's just about always fitting food and drinks in there, and it's so interesting for me, that concept.
Yeah, it's kind of like an on-running joke in the band that the lads always take the piss out of me for talking about food, because I don't know why I do, but food, I guess, in answer to your question, food is very emotive and also very nostalgic. Like, I associate sort of certain foods with my childhood, or certain foods with different like experiences. So for me, like, the mentioning of stuff like kombucha and skeletons just reminds me of like certain areas and certain times in my life. And the song Peanut Butter again is just, it's just a something that it's nostalgic for me. It's always almost nostalgic. The food references always just take me back to a time, and usually I miss those times. So it's kind of I don't know, it's just a means to remember things, because I struggle to remember things at the best of times. So having a solid sort of flag in the ground, which might be a food stuff, is kind of useful. I don't know, food's just great as well. I mean, another thing is like, we all eat all the time. Like, we're doomed to have to feed the machine constantly. So I think it would be pretty impossible not to talk about food, because I just kind of talk about day-to-day shit, and most of that is just eating and drinking. So it was almost inevitable, really.
I might be feeling blue, but got a pink and yellow mindset.
Coming from a city that loves football so much, like yours, like this huge parties, you like, I think it was 2016, 2015 when you won. It was concert. Yeah, it was concerts with Kasabian, and then this Saturday again happened. So you were like so excited. I saw the pictures in the stadium, and I'm gonna ask you, first of all, if like this kind of has some impact in the band, and second of all, why do you think football is such a huge inspiration in music in the UK? Because it happens a lot.
It's a great question, man, because I'm not particularly into football as a sport myself, but being from the city that we're from, Leicester is right in the middle of the country, and it doesn't have a lot going for it. So the fact that we have an amazing, like, globally renowned football team is just incredible, because Leicester doesn't have anything, you know. Leicester really is a forgotten part of the country, and I just think everyone from Leicester is just so proud that we have something that other people love too. And like, for us, it's I don't know, I think there's an amazing sense of community in the city that we're from, an amazing community, and everybody from Leicester loves Leicester despite the fact that it's really shit. There's nothing happening, that is awful, but I'm proud that it's home, you know. And I think the association with football is that we're just really excited that a good thing is happening in the city, and it's positive, and it changes the entire, like, the vibe of the city, you know. People are on the street, like, we had a crazy party, like the streets just completely jammed with people, just, and anything that provokes that reaction in people, I'm willing to be a part of. I don't really like football, but anything that can get people out on the street and smiling and drinking and partying, I'm all for that. And I think it's a wonderful part of the English culture. I love the fact that we love football so much, even though I don't like football.
So that was the last question. Thank you so much for your time. And I really, really like this record. So I hope it blows up in the world.
Thanks, Aaron, man. Great questions and really good to speak to you, man. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so
And
much.
I'm glad you like the album. Thanks, mate.